Indeed here, Elizabeth, and my sources are telling me right now that there is actually an active investigation into an employee that works at one of the ports in the Del Rio sector who has allegedly been handing out fraudulent visas. We're working to get more details on this right now, Elizabeth. CBP is very tight-lipped when it comes to this, but this is what our sources are saying, and this is just one case of the corruption that we're seeing. And we can tell you here that once the Mexican cartels get their hooks in you, they own you. They own these guys. And there is very little sympathy for the men and women in green on the front lines who turned their backs on the red, white, and blue just to make a quick buck from some of the most dangerous transnational criminal organizations in the world. It's a booming multi-billion-dollar business along the border fueled by greed and guns.
Man, they're really good. We're always responding to them.
And some within the ranks of Customs and Border Protection and Border Patrol are willing to turn their backs on the U.S. by either turning a blind eye or ushering in whatever the cartel is pushing, all to get a piece of the pie.
It was the action of taking no action, right?
Retired Border Patrol Sector Chief Victor Manara says that there were cases during his career where CBP officers and Border Patrol agents were working for the cartels to some degree. But these officers and agents end up paying for life.
Really isn't the threat to yourself as a peace officer, but it's a threat to your family. And then all of a sudden, you're stuck in a really bad spot.
Because when you do it once, the cartel loans you. You're not going to get that $10,000, $50,000 service fee for smuggling a Chinese or Iranian. Now you're going to do it for $500 and you're going to shut up because I got you on camera and now I'm going to turn you in. So yes, sir. Now you become a yes, sir to the cartel.
J.J. Carroll retired in 2021 after being with Border Patrol for 24 years.
I knew or know of 3 or 4 dirty agents. So and I worked with and I supervised thousands and thousands of agents and officers. So it is a small problem. We don't want any of it.
Between 5 and 10% of CBP's workforce of roughly 50,000 was either actively or formerly engaged in some form of corruption back in 2020, according to the former head of CBP's internal affairs. And as Mexican cartels continue to expand their business dealings and morale continues to plummet within CBP, there is concern that temptation could breed more corruption amongst officers and agents. And when it comes to betrayal, there is little sympathy from within the agency.
You turn your back on your brothers and sisters that are fighting down there. If you can't take it and you think it's that abysmal, which it is, then you need to man up and quit. That's it. You don't smuggle. You don't become part of the problem. You try your hardest to be the solution.
Border Patrol agents on the front lines from 2019 to 2021 accounted for 39% of the misconduct investigations.
It's a problem that spreads. It starts with, little things that are not being enforced that turn into big things that are not being enforced. And it's a very difficult problem to get a handle on.
Attorney David Zugman has represented some of the Border Patrol agents in the field and the CBP officers at ports who have dabbled in deceit for decades. Most notably, Lauren Leslie Jones, a.k.a. Hammer, who got sentenced to 7.5 years in custody for selling his badge to human smuggling groups and Mexican drug cartels.
The kind of corruption problems were aired at trial. There was a lot of talk about how easy it is because customs agents are trusted.
Historically, CBP has attracted twice as many dishonest recruits as other law enforcement entities. According to a Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs hearing in 2019, about 65% of all applicants fail the agency's polygraph examination, while the American Polygraph Association says a 30% failure rate is normal for law enforcement hiring. The FBI, for example, has a failure rate of less than 35%.
What a better time to be a dirty agent right now when there's no one watching the border. I mean, let's just be honest. Let's just say it as it is.
Now, when it comes to loyalties, it's not just a small percentage of agents and officers turning their back on the country. When we look at human smuggling, the vast majority of the people who have been arrested for human smuggling, Elizabeth, are U.S. citizens. We've done a story on that as well. And the majority of the drugs that we're seeing come in are being smuggled in by U.S. citizens at the ports of entry.